Almost every client I work with has the same unlock: confidence. It's a willingness to speak your true mind, to ask for what you want, to do the thing that you've been afraid of trying. Look, I get it, because I lived on the other side of that for a long time. Everything looked great on paper, but somehow my life was still smaller than I thought it should be. Today, I'm going to tell you how to develop actual confidence. I'm going to give you 3 tools that you may have heard of before, but then I'm going to tell you why they all miss the point. These 3 tools, preparing more, fake it till you make it, stacking wins, they are all partly true and they kind of work. But if they are all you have, you will still be stuck. I'm going to tell you what really unlocked confidence through a journey in my own life that I never expected to take. I'm Rusty Gaylord. I was Worldwide Director of Finance at Apple, where I spent 14 years of my career, and I left 7 years ago to coach ambitious, high-achieving leaders to have more confidence and build the kind of career that they really want. If you find this content useful, click subscribe. There's 2 to 3 new videos every month. Let's jump in. The first way many people boost their confidence is through preparation. You have a big presentation, a hard conversation, a job interview. You study, you prepare, your due diligence, you anticipate all of the questions. Look, that's important. You have to know your content. But if preparation is your strategy to boost your confidence, you're taking the wrong approach. Preparation is fundamentally about gaining the knowledge and anticipating questions so that you're not surprised, so you can handle anything that arises. But we all know it doesn't matter how much you prepare, you can never eliminate surprise. You can never anticipate every question that is going to be asked. And so the more you prepare, the more you realize there are corner cases and there are angles and there are questions that you haven't considered. And so you spend more and more time focused on your content. That does not boost confidence. Confidence is not your ability to eliminate surprises. Confidence comes from your ability to handle surprises, and no amount of preparation will ever achieve that. The problem is that preparation is content-oriented. Most people study the content and the data and their story and what am I going to say? But true confidence comes from your ability to be resilient and demonstrate leadership in a meeting, regardless of whether there's a surprise or not. You can over-prepare for a meeting and still walk in shaky and not confident. I recorded a whole video on how to prepare properly for meetings a few weeks ago, so check out that video. But recognize that no amount of preparation is going to give you the confidence that you really want. Step 2 is interesting because it actually gets a little bit closer to true. Step 2 to build confidence is fake it till you make it. Now, the core insight here is spot on. You build confidence by acting before you feel ready. You don't sit around and wait to feel ready before you act. You have to act, and then later you feel confident that you can do that thing. So I'm not going to tell you that this concept is wrong, but it still misses an important distinction. Fake it till you make it still is fundamentally about performing. It's about performing for other people whose opinion you deem to be important. You want to show up and impress them and look confident in front of them and perform well. This is the part that nobody actually talks about. Because when confidence is fundamentally this social construct based on impressing other people, it is still a small game. The real question is not, can I perform better, but to recognize that you're performing in the first place and to ask yourself, what would I do if no one was watching? I'll tell you when I first ran into this personally. It was a number of years ago when my son was young, and I made a decision that on paper looked like a step backward in my career. I chose to take a smaller job, less responsibility, less scope, less visibility, less opportunity, and I did it so that I could spend more time with my son. Maybe from the outside that engenders some kind of respect, but internally it was not a triumphant moment for me. It was the most gut-wrenching decision I had ever made in my life. All of these internal voices, the ones focused on progress and success and growth and appearance, all of these voices were screaming in opposition. But this was the first time I had made a decision that was not about how it would look. I was fulfilling a commitment I had made to myself as a young adult about the kind of father that I wanted to be. My career worked out fine, but that's not the point. The point is the decision taught me something I never would have learned by fake it till you make it. And that is the size of the title is not the size of the life. You can perform your way into rooms forever, but you will never learn if those are rooms you actually want to be in. Confidence isn't about convincing other people. Confidence is about willingness to look inside and understand what is it that you truly want and to choose for that. Sometimes that decision from the outside looks smaller, but on the inside, it makes for a bigger life because it's aligned with you and your values. Fake it till you make it will never get you there. It's a good step, but it's not going to take you there. That brings us to the third step that you can use to boost your confidence. And this one took me the longest time to unwind. This third step is to stack small wins. The idea here makes sense. You look at all your past successes and you say, well, I've been successful in all these different ways. I've done it before, I can do it again. Evidence matters. I'm not going to argue with that. But here's the trap. Stacking wins assumes that wins are the only thing that matter. When wins are the only thing that matter, your life starts to shrink around those things that you know you can win at. You become risk averse and you only try the things you know you'll be successful. That is not a confident life. It is a managed one. And I know that because I lived it. A few years after I took that smaller job, my wife decided to divorce me. I say it that way intentionally because it was not my choice. And it was devastating. She was very aggressive, and so not only did I lose my marriage, I lost my entire social circle. So I'm in my 40s, no friends, starting from zero, trying to figure out who are my people. You can't stack wins through something like that. No amount of fake it till you make it gets through those long nights sitting by yourself alone in a quiet house. You just have to get through it. Somewhere in those months and years, I found something I wasn't looking for. I found new friends and communities that accepted me where I was. I didn't have to prove anything. I didn't have to show up in a certain way. I didn't have to perform for them. It was okay to want what I wanted, to be who I was, to say what I thought. This was the first time I felt like I didn't really have to perform for other people. And I gotta be honest with you, how new that was for me. I had spent my entire life on this other model, where I had to prove myself over and over again. My self-worth came through my latest accomplishments. I had to justify whatever it is that I wanted. The idea that any of that could just be true without proof or effort blew my mind. I don't think I would have gotten there on my own. I had to lose all of these external things that were boosting my sense of self-worth and confidence. The high-profile job, the marriage, the social circle, all gone. And when those things were gone, I had nothing left but to look internally and try to tune into what I wanted. I think about it now as lowering the stakes. Stacking wins puts all of the emphasis on winning, and it creates this huge sense of vulnerability if you were not to win, if you were to lose something. But when you actually do lose something, you realize that those things that you relied on for your self-worth, in fact, may not be that critical. That you can go through difficult things and still survive. It's not that the things that are important in your life don't matter. Of course they still matter, but you matter more. And that is non-negotiable. It's also what stacking wins can never give you. Your real power isn't in the wins. It's in what's left after the wins are gone. Here's what I think confidence really is. It's not about preparation or performance or stacking wins. Confidence is knowing that even when life does not go your way, you will be okay. When your worth is no longer on the table, when you know that you matter, regardless of the outcome. When you have that level of confidence, something new starts to open up because the outcome is no longer the point. The point becomes, what kind of experience can you have? The only question is, how big a life can you live? One of the ways I started to get this personally is through Michael Singer. Michael Singer regularly talks about the universe and how you're one of 8 billion people on this earth, and we're circling a sun, and there are literally trillions of suns in this universe. If you can let your mind expand to that scale for a moment, you realize it doesn't matter how monumentous you think your mistakes are. In the grand scheme of the universe, they are still small. And the point of that is not to be depressing. It's to give you a sense of freedom. If you understand that your mistakes don't truly matter in that great cosmic sense, then you have the freedom to go for what it is that you really want. That degree of freedom is what most people really want when they say they want financial independence. They say, well, if I had that much money, then I would only do the kind of things that I want to do. I would not be in any situation I don't want to be in. I would only spend time with people I want to. I would not try to impress anyone. What is that describing? That is describing true freedom. And I would argue you do not need a certain amount of money in the bank to pursue that. You only need the confidence to live your life that way. I was a witness a number of years ago when my dad died to this principle, that you cannot take it with you. My dad was a hard worker and very successful in his life. And in those last days and hours of life, what matters is experience and relationship. All of the things in life that you've accumulated are left behind. The one thing you get to take with you is your experience of life. So go for a big one. Bet on yourself, because even if you aren't successful, the experience of betting on yourself counts. It was that exact thinking that enabled me to leave my corporate career after 14 years and start off as an executive coach. Countless people told me I was crazy to leave a company like Apple, but I walked away to start my own business. There's a pattern here. Taking a smaller job for my son, getting divorced and losing my social circle, walking away from a prestigious job at a prestigious company to start my own business. From the outside, many of these things look like decisions for a smaller life, but on the inside, they were all decisions for a bigger life. Sometimes the things that make your life bigger don't look that way from the outside. It's not obvious, but the breakthrough is the courage to choose what matters to you and the confidence to know you can survive whatever it costs you. Now, don't let that phrase, whatever it costs you, make you worried. Think for a moment about your favorite vacation. I bet that vacation is full of stories of things that did not go well. The missed plane, the lost passport, the rainstorm, whatever it is, those things you probably would have called a disaster during the trip turn out to make the trip memorable. They provide texture to the trip. The exact same thing is true of your life. You cannot control everything. Things will not go according to plan, and you will survive. You will get through it, and your life will be richer and bigger because of it. Real confidence is knowing that. Real confidence is acting on that, betting on yourself, because that is the best bet that you will ever make. Before you go, I want to share one of the most common mistakes my most ambitious clients make. They ask for too much feedback. They think it's the path to growth, but it's really putting your sense of self-worth in someone else's hands. Today's video on confidence was about claiming that sense of worth for yourself. This next video on why you should stop asking for feedback helps you put it to work. It's linked right here.